Hello. So, my research project is about human genetics. I'm Brianna, and I am just going to talk to you. So we'll start off basically with like, what is genetics? Genetics is the study of inheritance that occurs in human biology. There are different kinds of genetics. There are classical, molecular, biochemical, population development, and clinical. There's also other kinds, but I am going to focus solely on population development. Excuse me, I'm looking at my notes or like my okay. So the emotional aspect of this is basically I just wanted to study about the basic makeup of human beings, and the scientific aspect is just the importance of prediction, features, characteristics, and basic human health. In ecology, a population is a group of organisms of the same species who inhabit the same particular geographical area and are capable of interbreeding. As of December 2021, Wikipedia said that the world population is 7.9 billion. That's crazy, right? In 2002, Stanford discovered that there were only 5 races. So there's only 5 races for this, whole 7.9 billion people. But other studies indicated that there were 7. So the 5 races that Stanford identified were African, Asian, European, Native American, and Oceanian. And then others would say, there's white, black and African American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian, and Native, Hawaiian, or any other Pacific Islander. It's argued that, you know, if we were all separate racially and ethnically, disclaimer, I'm going to say a lot of things wrong, so bear with me. But it is argued that if we were all separate racially and ethnically, groups these groups would like actually exist. So we would find like trademark features within like one specific race versus like finding the same genes in all of these different races. So basically my project is going to further prove the point that we are all the same. We all have the same genetic makeup, and race is literally only skin deep. In February 2008, Stanford researchers created a resolution map of human genetic diversity. They surveyed 650,000 genetic locations in people from 51 different populations. They discovered that a majority of the genetic variation occurs within a population rather than between populations. So genetically speaking, like I said, race means nothing and it's only skin deep. To further explain this, our race has nothing to do with our actual genetic makeup. They had a unique way of pulling this information, and they grouped different people with the same genes together. They were looking for the genes A, T, C, and G. I am going to butcher these names a little bit, but the genes that they were looking up, like I said, was A, T, C, and G. So adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Again, bear with me. This caused a bit of a shock because people from China were being grouped with people from northern and southern locations, basically sold on the fact that they had the same genes. So there was no specific gene that was limited to one specific area. If race was actually a thing, there would be everyone over here with the G gene because they're all the same race, and then everyone over here has the T gene because they're all the same race. To further explain, Adam Rutherford is a genealogist, and to quote him exactly, he said, "We're culturally bound and psychologically conditioned to not think about ancestry in very broad terms." Harvard conducted a study in 2010 that indicated the classification of people into different races. It's typically observed by physical features, and color being, the most prominent characteristic. Racial classifications also draw up non-biological characteristics such as culture, language, history, religion, and socioeconomic status. Thus, race is a term that lacks a clear definition. Race and ancestry also emphasize geographical origins of one's ancestors, so like your parents and your grandparents and beyond. Unlike race, which is supposed to be like a concept of ancestry, it doesn't focus on the static, characterization of humans into groups, but rather on the process by which a person's history unfolded and like where that happened. So, for example, it's like branches of your family tree don't consistently diverge, according to Rutherford. He says that instead they begin to loop back into each other. So as a result of this, many people's ancestry is just like, your great 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 grandma is also your great 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 auntie. And it's like, how? So research basically indicates, like I said, that there are 5 races, and it's to an extent that like the human populations are just distributed like among continents. So this basically draws like a very blurred line about what race actually is. Because like I said previously, it's defined by like geographics and like ancestry and all this stuff, but none of that stuff has a clear-cut definition of what it actually is. And if you do the research, biologically, we all have the same genes. So I think basically what my overall point is that we look through the world in these rose-colored glasses, seeing things for like what we were, like I said, psychologically conditioned to believe, when actually, we all share like the same makeup. And then I can go in to talk about like world peace and things like that. But I think you guys understand my point. So basically, to wrap everything up, genes contain powerful insights about our biology that could unite us as a species, because it's been scientifically proven that we are all the same.